The Midnight Visitor. Luke drives a converted van, spends most weekends exploring remote locations across the UK, parks in quiet spots, documents his solo adventures on camera. February 2024. He found a secluded levee next to thick woodland. Perfect location. No other vehicles. No signs of activity. He parked his van, cooked dinner on his portable stove, documented the peaceful evening. Everything felt normal. Around 9 p.m., he decided to explore the woods before bed. Grabbed his headlamp, started walking the tree line. Just a quick look around before settling in for the night. The woods were dense, old-growth trees blocking most of the moonlight. He walked about 200 yards in, then noticed something odd. Plastic bags hanging from branches, dozens of them, some torn open, others intact, all containing what looked like personal items, clothing, papers, random objects. Strange but not threatening. He kept filming, kept walking. Then he found the shelter. Makeshift structure built between 3 trees. Tarp stretched overhead, sleeping bag visible inside. Fresh tire marks leading away from it. Someone was living out here, deep in these woods, far from any road or facility. He decided to head back. This wasn't his business. Whoever lived here probably valued their privacy. On the walk back to his van, he heard movement behind him, branches snapping, footsteps matching his pace. He stopped. The sounds stopped. He walked faster. The sounds matched his speed. Luke turned off his headlamp, stood completely still in the darkness, listened. Heavy breathing, close, maybe 30 feet away. Someone was following him through the woods. He didn't turn around, didn't investigate, just walked quickly back toward his van. The breathing stayed behind him, never getting closer, never falling back, just following. When he reached the van, he climbed inside, locked the doors, started the engine immediately. Through his window, he could see a silhouette standing at the tree line, watching, not moving. He drove away, didn't look back. Later uploaded the footage with a simple warning. Not all wilderness is empty. The 3 a.m. knock. Sarah camps alone regularly. Experienced backpacker. Knows how to handle herself in remote locations. She picked a dispersed camping spot in Oregon, miles from the nearest trail. No other campers visible in any direction. Set up her tent around sunset. Made a small fire. Ate dinner. Everything routine. Around midnight, she put out the fire. Climbed into her sleeping bag. Fell asleep quickly. 3 a.m. Something woke her. Not a sound, just that feeling, the one that tells you something's wrong. She lay still, listening. Her tent was double-walled, dark interior, no way to see outside without unzipping. Then she heard it. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate. Circling her tent. Not animal footsteps, human footsteps. Boots on dirt and pine needles. They walked around her tent twice, complete circles, then stopped directly at the entrance. Sarah's heart was pounding. She had bear spray within reach, phone in her hand, but no service out here. The footsteps didn't move, just stood there, right outside her tent door. She waited. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. The presence remained. Then came the knock. 3 slow taps on the tent fabric, right where someone's head would be if they were kneeling. Sarah didn't respond, didn't move. Barely breathed. Another 3 knocks, harder this time, more insistent. Still, she stayed silent. Every survival instinct told her not to engage, not to reveal she was awake. The footsteps resumed, walked around the tent one more time, then moved away, slowly, taking their time. She listened as they faded into the distance, didn't hear them return. Sarah stayed awake until sunrise, packed her gear as quickly as possible, left that spot and never returned. Later, she checked with forest rangers. No one had permits for that area that night. No other campers reported. Nobody should have been there. The recording: Marcus camps with elaborate setups, multiple cameras, audio recorders, documents, everything for his channel. Summer trip to the Adirondacks, remote site, beautiful location. He set up his usual array of equipment, cameras facing different directions, audio recorder running all night. First night was peaceful. Second night started the same way. Clear skies, quiet forest, perfect conditions. Around 2 a.m., his audio recorder picked something up. He was asleep, didn't hear it in real time, but the recording captured everything. It started with what sounded like whispering, multiple voices, too far away to make out words, but clearly human speech. The whispers got closer over the next 20 minutes, circling his campsite, never quite reaching his tent. Then came a woman's voice, clear and close, right outside his tent. "Are you alone out here?" Marcus didn't wake up. The voice repeated the question, same tone, same words. "Are you alone out here?" On the recording, you can hear his breathing change, his body responding to the voice, even though his conscious mind stayed asleep. The voice asked a third time, then laughed. Not a friendly laugh. Something else. More whispers followed. Different voices, some male, some female, all speaking too quietly to understand. This continued for nearly an hour, voices coming and going, sometimes close, sometimes distant, always circling. Then silence, abrupt and complete. Marcus woke up at sunrise, felt rested, had no memory of anything unusual. It wasn't until he reviewed his audio files that he discovered what had happened. An hour of voices, right outside his tent, while he slept through it all. He reported it to local authorities. They told him the area had a history. Squatters, drifters, people living off-grid in the deep woods. Not dangerous usually, but unpredictable. Marcus never camps alone anymore, and he always reviews his audio before posting. Some things people don't need to hear. The abandoned campsite. David and Emma backpacked together. Experienced couple. They'd done hundreds of miles across various trails. They were hiking the Appalachian Trail. Midweek, few other hikers. Peaceful conditions. Late afternoon, they found a campsite that looked recently used. Fire pit still warm, tent stakes in the ground, gear scattered around. But no people, no voices, no indication anyone was coming back. They waited 30 minutes, called out, no response. The gear was expensive, quality equipment, sleeping bags, cooking supplies, everything you'd need for an extended trip. But it looked abandoned, like someone left in a hurry. Emma found something else, a notebook, left open on a flat rock. The last entry was dated that morning, written in shaky handwriting. They've been following us for 2 days, staying just out of sight. We hear them at night. They move when we move. We're leaving the trail, going deeper into the woods. Maybe we can lose them there. No signature, no other context. David and Emma looked at each other, looked at the abandoned gear, looked at the thick forest surrounding them. They made a decision, left everything exactly as they found it, hiked another 2 miles before making their own camp. That night, they heard movement, distant but persistent, something large moving through the underbrush. They didn't investigate, didn't call out, just stayed in their tent with their headlamps off. Morning came without incident. They packed quickly, hiked out faster than usual. Later, they reported everything to park rangers. The rangers found the abandoned campsite, but the gear was gone, the notebook was gone. No trace anyone had ever been there. The couple whose gear it was never reported missing, never filed a complaint. Nobody matching their description ever came forward. The camera footage. Tyler sets up trail cameras, documents wildlife around his favorite camping spots, usually captures deer, sometimes bears, normal forest activity. One camera was positioned near a remote clearing, area he'd used for years, always felt safe. He checked the camera after a week, hundreds of images. Most showed nothing interesting. Then he found the night footage. 3 a.m. Motion triggered the camera. A person standing in the clearing, completely still, facing the camera directly. Next image, 30 seconds later. Same person, same position, hadn't moved. This continued for 47 images. Over 20 minutes, the person just standing there, staring at the camera. Then the sequence changed. The person started walking, not toward the camera, not away from it, just walking in circles around the clearing. Perfect circles, same path, same speed, for another 30 images. Then they stopped. Stood completely still again, facing a different direction. Final image in the sequence. The person looking directly at the camera again, but closer, much closer. Face partially visible in the infrared glow. Tyler recognized something in that final image. The person was smiling. He pulled the camera down, never returned to that clearing, never set up equipment there again. Someone had found his camera, knew exactly where it was, knew it was recording, and decided to perform for it. The question that haunted Tyler: how long had they been watching before they revealed themselves? The morning discovery. Rachel wakes up early, always has. Part of her camping routine. Watch the sunrise, make coffee, enjoy the quiet. She was camping in the White Mountains. Solo trip. Designated campground, but she'd chosen a spot away from others. Woke at 5:30 a.m. Unzipped her tent. Started her morning routine. Then she noticed them. Footprints. In the dirt around her tent. Fresh footprints, made during the night, while she was sleeping. They circled her tent multiple times, coming from the woods, going back to the woods. No obvious destination or origin. But it was the pattern that disturbed her. The prints didn't wander. They were deliberate. Someone had walked around her tent, over and over. Multiple circuits. She checked her phone. No missed calls, no messages, no disturbance in the night that she remembered. But the evidence was undeniable. Someone had been there, very close, for an extended period. Rachel packed immediately. Didn't finish her coffee, didn't wait for full daylight, just loaded her gear and left. She told the camp host. He checked the area, found the same prints, followed them into the woods. They disappeared after 50 yards. No trail, no broken branches, just vanished into the dense forest. The camp host had no explanation. No other reports that night. No one else saw anything unusual. Rachel switched to group camping after that. Never alone, never isolated. The thought of someone watching her sleep was too much. The unexplained sounds. Jordan records audio, nature sounds, forest ambiance, sells them to content creators. He sets up sensitive microphones, leaves them running overnight, captures hours of material. One recording session in Olympic National Park, remote location, deep old-growth forest. His equipment captured something unexpected. It started around 1 a.m., a low humming sound, almost mechanical, but organic somehow, like throat singing, but deeper, more resonant. The humming continued for 11 minutes, constant tone, never wavering, then stopped abruptly. 15 minutes of normal forest sounds, insects, wind, branches moving. Then screaming, high-pitched, sustained, not human, not animal, something in between. The scream lasted 37 seconds, then silence, complete and total. Even the insects stopped. That silence lasted 8 minutes. Jordan's equipment kept recording. Nothing, not even wind. Then footsteps, heavy, slow, moving past the microphone, very close. The footsteps stopped, directly next to the equipment. Something was examining his setup, breathing, loud and close, right into the microphone, for 2 full minutes. Then movement again, walking away, fading into the distance. Jordan retrieved his equipment the next morning, checked the recording, couldn't believe what he heard. He sent the file to wildlife experts. They had no explanation. The sounds didn't match any known animal. The pattern made no sense. The sustained scream was impossible for most creatures to produce. One expert suggested it might be human, someone doing an elaborate prank, but that raised new questions. Who would be out there at 1 a.m.? How did they find his equipment? Why would they do this? Jordan still has the recording, still can't explain it, and he doesn't camp alone in Olympic National Park anymore. The van incident. Christine lives full-time in her camper van, travels across Europe, parks in different locations every few nights, experienced with stealth camping, knows how to stay safe. She was parked in a forest car park in Scotland, middle of nowhere, single-track road access, no other vehicles when she arrived at dusk. She followed her usual routine, blackout curtains drawn, minimal light inside, no external signs anyone was in the van. She ate a quiet dinner, read for an hour, went to sleep around 10 p.m. 2 a.m. She woke to the sound of a vehicle, engine running, headlights sweeping across her curtains. Another van or truck had pulled into the car park. She stayed quiet, waited to hear them park and settle in. But the vehicle didn't park. It circled, slowly, around her van. Once, twice, 3 times, the headlights illuminating her windows each time it passed. Christine's heart raced. She grabbed her phone. No signal. She grabbed her keys, ready to start the engine if needed. The circling stopped. The other vehicle parked directly behind her, blocking her exit. Engine still running, headlights still on, pointed at her rear doors. She waited. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. The vehicle didn't move, didn't turn off, just sat there, idling, waiting. Then came the footsteps. Someone had gotten out, walking around her van, slowly, checking each window, each door, testing the handles. Christine held her breath. She'd locked everything. Triple-checked. But the testing continued. Driver door, passenger door, side door, rear doors. Someone was systematically checking every entry point. The footsteps stopped at her driver window. She could see a shadow through the thin gap in her curtain. Someone standing there, face close to the glass, trying to see inside. The shadow remained for a full minute, not moving, just standing there. Then it moved to the passenger side. Same thing, standing at the window, peering in, waiting. Christine made a decision. She couldn't stay there. Couldn't wait to see what this person wanted. She started her engine, turned on her headlights. The person scrambled back to their vehicle. But they didn't move it. Didn't clear her exit. Just sat there, blocking her in. She put her van in reverse, drove backward onto the grass, maneuvered around their vehicle. They still didn't move, didn't follow, just watched her leave. She drove for 2 hours straight. Didn't stop until she reached a well-lit motorway service station, filed a police report the next day, gave them the location, the description of the vehicle, everything she could remember. Police checked the car park, found nothing, no other vehicle, no tire tracks beyond hers, no evidence anyone else had been there. They told her it was probably local kids. Pranking tourists. Happens sometimes in remote areas. But Christine knew better. This wasn't a prank. This was something else. Someone testing her, seeing if she was alone. seeing if she was vulnerable, checking if they could get inside. She still travels, still camps, but never in isolated locations anymore. Never without phone signal, never without an escape route. Because that night taught her something important. Being hidden doesn't always mean being safe. Sometimes being invisible makes you a target. Sometimes the people who find you in remote places are looking for exactly that. Someone alone, someone isolated, someone who can't call for help. The pattern. What connects these encounters? The common thread running through each disturbing moment? They happen to experienced campers, people who knew the outdoors, who understood risks, who took precautions. And they still found themselves in situations that terrified them, confused them, made them question what they thought they knew about wilderness. Some were clearly human encounters, people living off-grid, drifters, squatters, individuals who chose isolation. Others remain unexplained, sounds that don't match known animals, behavior that defies logic, presences that leave no trace. The wilderness isn't empty. It never has been, and sometimes what's out there doesn't want to be seen, until it does. Every person in these stories survived. They made it home. They uploaded their footage. They shared their experiences. But something changed for them. The forest stopped being just beautiful. It became something else. A place where normal rules don't always apply. Where the darkness holds more than shadows. Where that feeling of being watched isn't always paranoia. Camping remains a peaceful activity for millions. Most nights pass without incident. Most sounds have simple explanations. Most fears prove groundless. But not always. Sometimes the forest shows you something you weren't meant to see. Sometimes you hear something that shouldn't exist. Sometimes you discover you weren't alone when you thought you were. These campers learned that lesson. They captured their encounters on video, on audio, in photographs and footprints and memories they can't shake. The footage exists. The recordings are real. The evidence speaks for itself. What happened out there, in those remote clearings and dark woods, when the cameras were rolling and the microphones were recording? Maybe we'll never know for certain. Maybe that's for the best, because some questions lead to answers we're not ready to face. Some mysteries are safer left unsolved. Some doors, once opened, can't be closed again. The campers in these stories learned to live with uncertainty, with unanswered questions, with the knowledge that something was out there, watching, listening, waiting. They still camp sometimes, still venture into the wilderness, but they're more careful now, more aware, more respectful of the fact that humans aren't always the apex predators. That intelligence isn't always our advantage, that sometimes, in the deep woods at 3 a.m., we're the visitors in someone else's territory. And whoever or whatever lives there doesn't always welcome guests. Sometimes they watch from the shadows, sometimes they circle your tent, sometimes they knock. Sometimes they block your vehicle in and test your doors. And sometimes, if you're unlucky, they decide to let you know they've been there all along. These encounters remind us of something important. The wilderness isn't ours to control. We're passing through. Temporary visitors in an ancient place. And the permanent residents? They were there before us. They'll be there after we leave. And occasionally, just occasionally, they want us to know it. The statistics tell part of the story. Thousands of people camp safely every year, but dozens report unexplained encounters. Strange sounds, mysterious footprints, feelings of being watched. Most brush it off, attribute it to imagination, to darkness playing tricks, to natural anxiety in unfamiliar places. But some encounters can't be dismissed so easily. When the evidence is captured, when multiple witnesses see the same thing, when physical traces remain. Those moments force us to confront uncomfortable truths. The woods aren't always friendly. Isolation isn't always peaceful. And sometimes the thing that goes bump in the night isn't your imagination. Stay alert out there. Trust your instincts. And if something doesn't feel right, if that voice in your head says leave, listen to it. Because the people in these videos did. And that's why they're still here to tell their stories.